What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Flatzoid, 10th Man, and Arwin, together with a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome one and all.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Welcome.
Please don't swear. Any signs of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curvature?
Not from East St. Louis.
Well, it is getting kind of moist and all, so I think it's back.
Are we listening to a private conversation that you're having there, Arwin, or what?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. Any signs of axial rotation?
Sorry.
The wind is blowing very hard.
Like the satellites aren't doing their job in the bush today. Keep losing reception.
Yeah, you're quite clear.
No axial rotation, Nathan. None whatsoever. You would be able to measure it and feel it at 15 degrees that they're talking about doesn't fare out.
Yeah, as soon as we point out that they're supposed to have a 15 degrees an hour deviation as Earth rotates underneath stuff, they start justifying why we don't see 15 degrees an hour and why stuff isn't drifting at all to prove it spins. So yeah, they don't have what they're supposed to, which is 15 degrees an hour deviation as Earth rotates underneath stuff to prove it's spinning. Of course, that would shorten flight times, and you'd have drones drifting away from you at 15 degrees an hour. 1,000 miles an hour on the equator. Hey, Chocolate, how's it going?
Drop.
Well, on this,
But I
chocolate.
saw the Earth spin on TV.
Oh yeah, what, when Superman flew around it?
It's funny. It's funny how they actually argue against the 15 degrees, except when it comes to bullets.
And footballs. Don't forget about those.
Oh, that's right. Footballs. Thank you.
And hurricanes, because they don't understand what Coriolis effect is.
Yeah, and water going down the toilet.
Again, because they don't understand Coriolis. That's right. That's right.
They're throwing that away at least.
They actually showed the hurricane from a satellite this morning. Earth looked very small.
Oh, yeah.
But was it rotating by any chance?
Talking of rotating.
No, what?
Have any of you ever seen Robert Bassano's little snippet where they've got a mission? I think it's, I don't know what they're doing. They're out doing something in the shuttle, and the rendering of the Earth beneath them is static, and then halfway through it starts turning. They turn it on. Has any of you seen that?
Yeah, it's quite an old video.
Yeah, but I just happened to have seen it by chance because Robert Bassano, or Planete Veritas is the name of the YouTube channel, happened to expose it with his typical exasperated, "What the hell's going on here? They've started the Earth turning in the CGI. It wasn't moving, now it is." Classic stuff. Yeah, it's all fake. Speaking of fakes, go on.
No, I kind of recalled that. I just can't. I want to say I did see it, but I remember hearing about it. But I would love to see that old clip if it's possible.
And it was funny because he realized it midway through his live stream. It was hilarious.
Yeah, he's showing it in the live stream, but then he's like, what the hell? And then he rewinds and looks at it. It's like the Earth's just started turning in the middle of this stream. What the hell?
So funny.
That's great.
Speaking of fake space, any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container for all the religious fundamentalists who believe the sky is a vacuum called space?
You need containment for any kind of pressure.
Without the container, there can be no pressure. Conspiracy Cats, 2019.
Yeah, this is an impossibility. They're stuck with this one, just like the Black Swan, because when it comes to demonstrating it, they have to have a container to demonstrate what would happen without a container.
You can't even measure pressure without a container.
Right.
You need a container to measure the pressure.
You can't even get a vacuum without the container.
So Hillbilly Blue Ball shows up with containers to prove we don't need a container.
They all do it. Any evidence?
That's so funny.
So they're just container deniers, really.
Yeah, sort of.
Container deniers.
They've got a fundy belief in a sky vacuum, and that has no containment. So therefore, they kind of ipso facto have to deny the second law of thermodynamics and the antecedent consequent relationship that is gas pressure and containment. Yes, Arwin.
Show me the container.
The antecedent to the gas pressure we're breathing. If there wasn't a container, we wouldn't have any gas to breathe.
Show me the dome. Show me the dome.
I don't know if there is a dome. I don't know what the container is. I just know there is absolutely, unequivocally containment. There must be. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
I can't see it. Too cloudy.
That's not
The
what I
best thing
meant.
to do in this situation is ask the baller how they calculated it. And if you ask any baller, they will never tell you how they could do it. Just will say it's done.
Well, we know how they did it, so that's okay.
But
And we'll
it
point it
has
out to
something to
them.
do with our radius.
Well, of course they assume R.
Yeah, well, that's formula.
I heard them say they triangulated.
With what? With the rate? Where does the
No, they'll
radius
talk
of
about
the Earth that?
They'll say parallax.
Yeah, but they can calculate it, but they can only do it based on a presupposition. Vantage point. A model they have to presume in order to triangulate that. And then they still have no proof because they still use the presupposition to calculate it.
Precisely.
Well
Everyone
said.
there.
Well said.
Well,
Aaron. And
well,
then when
can
their
I
model
ask? Can I
doesn't
ask you
match-
guys this?
Hang on. When the
If
model does-
Copernicus
hang
was
on one second.
wrong,
Okay, don't hang on.
sorry, go ahead, mate.
When their model doesn't match reality, Arwin, where are they left with?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
I said, well said about the model, but then when their model doesn't match reality, i.e. the Black Swan, what are they left with then?
Well, they're left with the a flat Earth model straw man that they can attack, and they do. So where's the
But we don't
dome?
have a model.
Where's the edge? Ugh.
Yeah, exactly.
How
Well, I
about the
thought you were
Southern
gonna say-
Cross? That doesn't make any sense on a disc. Ugh.
I thought you were going to say
Well,
something.
can I
else.
make one point? Can I make the point that if Copernicus got the math, aka the distance to the sun, if he got that wrong, and Tycho Brahe got that wrong, and these guys apparently are huge, influential pinnacles of mathematics in and of themselves, if they're all wrong, how is some baller on Discord or on a YouTube channel ever going to convince me otherwise? Because I don't think they even know the math that actually has anything to do with the measurement at all.
Have you heard the story about
pulling it out of their ass?
Tycho Brahe's a really interesting character. So he objected.
Yeah.
They reverse engineered his objection into the absolutely
Kepler did,
ginormous
absolutely.
lights, which I find fascinating. That part of the narrative, it might not be true, might not even have existed for all I know, it doesn't matter. But part of their story is a dude saying, hang on a second, if you're suggesting that based on a... Bear with me, my friend. If you're basing this assumption of these astronomical distances on a presupposed R value, then what we will have in the form of these lights is absolutely enormous, ginormous bodies. They'd be massive. Yeah. And what they do is they take that and reverse engineer it into absolutely enormous lights in the sky. That's why you end up with things like Betelgeuse shown in comparison to the sun being, I don't know, orders of magnitude bigger. Well, that's based on a reverse engineering of Tycho Brahe's objection that the lights would have to be massive. So they are massive now, which is part of the bullshit of assuming an R value and pushing these lights out to astronomical distances as they've done. So you have the net effect of they've got to be massive then. Well, then they are massive.
Wow. That's just typical.
Well, the thing is...
The earlier engineers of... Sorry. The earlier engineers of the whole heliocentric model... the continuation of the modeling of it all is basically based on the objections of the earlier designers. They're like, no, that's ridiculous. That can't be right. And then they're like, no, that means it's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Take the objection, turn it into a positive. Why not? The person who exposed that to me it was ages ago. It's probably about 5 years ago. It was Jaren. So Jaren going through all of his old history books. So he's got some ancient books. He used to sell books. And he basically went through it from what, I don't know if it was primary source, but certainly very old information, very old books and literature, and just said, here's the backstory to Brahe. And you're like, bloody hell. At the time, I was fairly new to it. And I was like, my God, they even document how nonsensical their model is. But at the same time, we say it here, they make it clear it's a model. And when you look into it in any depth, the people who are telling you it's a philosophy and a model tell you it's a philosophy and a model.
Well, the thing is, like, if you talk to a baller in 2020, if they come on this channel or any other sort of flat earth debate channel, they're going to have to explain why they believe what they believe. And all a flat earther has to do is say, hey, look, okay, Copernicus had an idea, Brahe had an idea, Kepler had an idea. You are literally debating these guys when you say they're wrong and it's 93 million miles away. So if you want to show your math for that, go ahead. But most of them have no clue. They won't ever show their math, which is why they're probably talking out of their ass. And I've just learned that just talking to them.
In the book called Kings Dethroned by Gerard Hickson, on page 3, it talks about Hipparchus and triangulation and how he got it wrong. And it couldn't be measured. So because it couldn't be measured, he said, well, they must be far, far away. And then it says something to the effect that all his followers, the people you guys are all mentioning, made a series of blunders because the very essence of their source didn't have it right, which was Hipparchus. So astronomy got it wrong. All these measurements of Earth radius is all wrong. I'll just read it a little bit here. Such was the extraordinary conclusion arrived by Hipparchus, and that statement of his lies at the root of astronomy and has led its advocates into an amazing series of blunders from that day to this. The whole future of the science of astronomy was affected by Hipparchus when he said the heavenly bodies are infinitely distant. And it's just a nice little book. I think Robert Bassano has a YouTube show where he reads the whole book. So you can, if you can't buy it or find it, you can go to his channel.
Can we move on?
Infinitely distant? That's another way to put it.
Well, astronomical.
Yeah, but infinite.
Well,
infinite distance is kind of already physically self-contradicting. But
yeah, it is self-contradicting. No, they're going to apply Kepler's third law. Let's just move on. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Oh, no. Oh, I did half my early bird show about that. Ballers just kept on piling onto it, asserting Cavendish and all of that. And I'm just telling them, look, you don't know what gravity is. In physics, nobody knows what gravity is. They just let people speculate about it. But Einsteinian pseudo-Riemannian force space, you can't even tie it into physical reality anymore. You can't. They can just show you how to imagine what it's supposed to be, but there is no actual thing it officially even is in the real physical world anymore. It's just left open. And it's mind-boggling.
Go on, Flatside.
The concepts itself debunk itself.
What, the fact that it's a concept?
concepts, not just one, by the way.
Right. Did you want to add something, Neil?
That,
I don't
yeah, I
even
was
understand.
reading something. It says Earth appears to be traveling through the debris of ancient supernovae.
Okay.
It's just a bunch of bull crap, that's all. It says radioactive dust deep beneath the ocean waves suggest that Earth is moving through a massive cloud left behind by an exploded star.
All right. Yeah,
Where'd
yeah.
they get this information?
The fiction section of the library.
Just heliocentric
Oh,
trick.
boy.
We're a ball flying through a vacuum.
Yeah.
Why is it that flat Earth is the only alternative explanation or argument against it? Flat Earth is the only one arguing against that, by the way.
Well, they say we're moving through an interstellar cloud made up of gases. How could there be gases?
Flat Earth is the only one because it's the only plausible one. Like,
Or the only ones that are
They
skeptical
want,
anymore.
they want us to
They'll
argue
present you
about what
something
we're
called
moving
science.
through. They want us to argue about what the hell we're moving through while not proving that we're moving at all.
Yeah,
It's
beg the question of
fantastic.
space.
Exactly.
Yeah, beg the question of space. You've only got to look at the Flat Earth Society and their Flat Earth controlled opposition narrative in terms of them having a disk flying up through space at 9.8 meters per second. They want to retain gravity and they want to retain space.
But don't you know, guys, that you can look at what's going on right now and project that into the past? Don't you guys get this? Come on.
What are you babbling about? Hello,
don't
Paul, by the way.
understand.
What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, we see gravity working, we see chemistry going on, we see how different nuclear fusions work. We can
Hold
see
on,
how things
hold on,
are
don't
operating
scattergun us.
now.
Hold on. Why are you scattergunning us with things that are real? With the idea that we see gravity working? What's that? What's all this about? What's the strapped on other things that are actual and you could demonstrate with a
Well, it's
go on.
I'm saying I can understand how things are working in the present, and I can take that and project into the past how things happened in the past.
Yeah, that's what you said in the first place, and I'm like, what are you babbling about?
Well, it's
I'm
just
just
how
curious,
things
when
work.
did you see nuclear fusion?
is
Paul?
nuclear
When did you see
fusion real?
All right, let's not get into the sideline tangent of the other things he brought up. Right, he's done it. Paul's obviously been listening to Ballers. Yeah, okay, well done. You've obviously got someone to bite on that red herring, Paul. Percent. Yeah, what is this gravity that you're talking about, and where do we see it?
Things fall down and go boom, boom. That's what it is. You know, and it causes planets to form. It causes the sun to create nuclear fusion. It causes all this stuff.
You've seen
And I can look at that. I can see gravity.
Hold on. Just one step at a time. When have you seen gravities forming through gravitational accretion? When have you seen that? You didn't say that, but that's what you're talking about. When have you seen that?
Well, I'm projecting on how gravity works now. I'm projecting that into the past on how the solar system formed. That's what I'm doing.
But you said you'd seen it.
Your kid disagreed.
See, Paul, all the pseudoscience is even bothering Lily.
He said he saw it. Did I mishear? He said he'd seen it, and then listed off a few other things he'd seen.
Yeah, he said he's seeing planets forming through gravity.
Well, there's this cloud out there that has these stellar nurseries in it. You know, and it's gravity.
Hold on. You're talking about the Hubble pictures of the pillars of creation now, aren't you? Yes, you are.
Yeah, that's it. You got it, Nathan. You got it.
Hubble picture.
So that you think that picture, right? Which, for a start, the picture presented to the public is nothing like the picture that is claimed to be taken by Hubble, also known as Sophia. Look into it. Anyway, that picture isn't doing anything. It's a static picture.
Shout out to Robert Pisano.
Yes, 2 shout-outs. Right, that's true. Hold on. Yeah, the Sophia hoax. The whole idea that we have this... We know it's a fake place. We know there's no satellite in space, because space is fake. You can't have gas pressure without a container. So what is taking the pictures? Well, Sophia takes the pictures. Shout out to Robert Pisano. Second one in one show.
Planes.
Paul's gone quiet. He's given up on that nonsense, it seems.
No, actually, it's Jesse was getting crazy, and I was like, I didn't want you guys to hear that. So
Okay, the pillars of
She's
creation.
allergic to
Jesse
pseudoscience,
object.
man.
Let's get back to Paul. So, pillars of creation. You see something happening in this static image?
no, I just see a picture, but I'm extrapolating on how gravity works here on Earth, and I'm saying that's what's happening up there.
Okay, so that's 2 for
what's
2.
going on.
Other than your extrapolation, when have you seen gravity?
Things fall down and go boom boom, Nathan. That's where I've seen it.
Helium balloons don't go down and go boom boom. Neither does gas, right? The gas that's created at ground level, that makes its way up to the top of Everest now, doesn't it? It's going up.
Can't we find one more thing that goes up?
Hydrogen.
Why? Do you need more?
Actually, most gases
I don't
go
know.
up.
That would depend on where you're talking about. If you change the medium, certain things will go up.
Vapor.
Right?
Your gas doesn't go down and go boom boom. Let's move on. Any
Right,
single...
like shooting stars, right, Nathan? They will go.
Oh,
up.
God, here we go.
Have you ever seen,
Arwin,
have you ever
fine.
seen gas stand still?
Hold on, go ahead, Arwin.
Have you ever seen?
Hold on, Flatsword. Go ahead, Arwin.
Shooting stars go up. You witnessed it yourself.
What
Remember
are we
the
calling up?
The star, the falling star. Or
From my
shooting
vantage
star.
point, something came from the horizon and ended up above my head. Does that mean that it's necessarily going in an upward trajectory? It could be going across and just appear to go up based on perspective from my vantage point. I might have said up. I have to go back and listen to how I phrased it before I start getting claimed to be a liar.
Don't do it. You just
It's
proved the
definitely
globe.
not.
According
It didn't
to,
end up beneath your feet, at least. You know.
No, it didn't.
No, no.
What's it? What did I watch? What was that light that I witnessed? I'm not saying you should know what I witnessed, but I don't know what it was. How am I supposed to know its trajectory?
According to Spurs, you just proved the globe when you say that.
Oh God.
There's a Kamehameha.
Yeah, let me end this by saying I've walked down the Hollywood Hall of Fame, stars on the ground. I've stepped on these stars. So here.
Okay, lights in the sky.
That's another type of falling star.
Yeah, okay.
I'm trying to give a segue so we get out of here.
They've been
Most of them do
fallen.
fall.
Any
Hey, I
single...
want to make a statement just to kind of borrow from Anthony. Up is where time moves more slowly.
Oh my God. What are you babbling about now?
Can we move
Time
on?
moves?
Oh, God.
No, please.
What is Paul
Are
talking
we in
about?
Narnia right now?
Let Paul answer. What are you talking about, Paul? What are you on
Oh,
about?
I don't know. We don't.
Time
You're gonna drag us in, Paul. I've heard it before.
If time
Dealing
dilation,
with children.
why
It's
astronauts
fair enough.
wear watches?
We'll come back to that if I remember, which I probably won't. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields
Thank
of
you.
astronomy,
Jeez.
cosmology, or astrophysics?
No, still
Thank
waiting on
God,
Dr.
and
Vicky.
no.
Not yet.
Possibility.
Not ever.
You don't know that.
Well,
I
okay.
put out
Before
polls
every
twice
You
flutter,
a
might
there's
day.
start
a,
trying at some
before
point and then
every
figure out
flutter,
their
there's
entire
this no.
opinion
Can you not hear each other
Today-
talking? Hello? One of you's got to yield when there's two of you talking.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Yield,
Arwen,
boy, yield.
I
Arwen,
put
Check
out
it
a
out.
help the
request.
10th man
conversation.
steps in.
Well, it
You
was. I
should.
sensed the
Okay,
great
you start
silence.
talking.
Right, everybody
I
shut
took
up. We've got
advantage of it.
complete audio chaos at the moment. Right, I'm going to nominate Arwin because he's the first person I heard. Then the guy in, was it Sinclair or something? Then Sinclair, then 10th man. Go ahead, Arwin.
Not a gay,
Yeah.
not a guy. No, okay. Go ahead, Arwen.
Okay, thank you for that. So yeah, no viable hypothesis just yet. There may not ever be, but you can't really tell. At some point, they might decide to go for it after all, and thereby disproving their entire field. So
Fair point.
maybe they'll be forced to.
Plenty of natural phenomenon, but they just don't have any viable hypotheses as yet. They might. They might figure out the cause of a supernova or something, a phenomena that they observed. Who knows?
Well, I can.
Yeah, but what I meant is that they might actually go out and start to
Yeah, they-
really
they
try
might
to
build it.
interact, vary, and manipulate. That
Yeah,
was
that's
Oh,
what
they're
I
going to
meant.
build an enterprise and reach the stars. Yeah, yeah.
You know, I have
But at
seen
that
them
point, it wouldn't be
calculate-
astronomy.
No, it's not
It wouldn't
naming
be astronomy
stars.
at that point. At that point, it would be a different science.
Yeah, all astronomers do is
Another
name
science?
stuff. Give it names.
At that point, it would actually be science. Till then, here we are.
True.
I
Right.
actually
Looking at
think.
stuff.
Hold on, 10th man.
I
Hold on.
actually-
Sinclair, he's waiting in the sidelines as well. Then you, 10th man. Go ahead, Tinks.
Yeah, we have to
Thank
have.
God.
Not you, Owen.
four
You've had
people
your
talking
time.
at the same time,
Ugh.
just like
The G Plus panel are taking liberties today, audience. I'm so sorry. Go ahead, Sinclair.
Not today, Aaron. Okay, so what I'm going to try to tell you is that if you've ever debated ballers, of course you all have, is that when it comes to astronomy, they're going to talk about star rotation. Now, star rotation has everything to do with what the objects that we see that apparently appear to be light, what they're doing. Now, does anything that they appear to be doing have any sort of reflection on the shape of the Earth? What do you guys think?
What do you mean objects?
I'm not going to give my answer, but I want to hear a panel here.
What do you mean objects?
Well, if we see some sort of light in the sky that appears to be rotating in some sort of cardinal direction, they always will use that against us. I have no clue why, because it has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth, but they will always use it for some reason or another.
I'm seeing
Well,
if you've
wait
got
a minute.
any physical assumption bias, and then we go to 10th man. But you said an object. If I shine a torch
Okay,
on...
let me do this. Well, 1 second, Nathan, before you go to 10, because I want to hear everybody here. From my experience is that when you say that space has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth, right? I've said it as any flat earther would, that they'll always say star rotation is absolutely, you better be damn sure it's proof of that we live on a spherical Earth. And I say, no, we don't live in the sky. But you get into perspective, you get into all these different sort of abstract ways of looking at what we're perceiving. And that's why I just wanted to gauge the question, because I do want to hear Arwen and 10th Man and everybody.
Okay, but when they're asserting that, you have to pin them down to how. So I'll try it with you. How is it asserted that the lights in the sky prove we're on a spinning sphere? How is that? How does one link to the other?
Well, the proof that I have that they're not actually doing any sort of measurement is that they're doing some sort of optical, if they're looking through a telescope, for instance, they're not triangulating anything. They're calling it a measurement, which has nothing to do with what they say it is, because the real premise is the calculation. And then when they calculate things, they're using math, and math can absolutely prove anything under the sun.
Yeah,
It
but
can
what are they
literally prove
calculating?
any sort of realm you want to
You're
live
missing
in.
my point.
But they've grounded themselves in that.
You're missing my point. What is it that they are trying to achieve when they do their calculations? How do you link the spinning ball with the sky? How is this done by them? I can tell you if you don't know.
I'll shoot my shot here. You tell me if I'm wrong. They will say star rotations. I know you know as well as I do. It proves their globe. You know.
Yeah, but, okay.
So
how would they
my
achieve
understanding
that?
and
Yeah. How
Go
would they
ahead.
go from that, though? How do they assert the premise that the stars prove we're on a spinning ball? Do you know how they assert that as a claim to be logical consistency? Not. It won't be. It's a logical fallacy. But if you don't know, I'll just tell you.
Well, all I know is that whenever they talk about the stars, I say it has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth, and you're appealing to perspective, which we absolutely know that you have you have counterclockwise and clockwise rotations, and it's all spinning the same direction, east to west, regardless of where you're at on the Earth. Now, their argument seems to conclude when they ever compare that with a flat Earth Gleason's map type model, which no flat earther that I know would ever stand by. So if I dismiss it, hand wave it, and I say it has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth, yada, 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 I am now found in a position where I have to say that, yeah, you're just stargazing. You're just doing astronomy that has nothing to do with the Earth.
Yeah, you're still missing
you
what I'm
saying-
asking. I'm asking.
Are you saying
how would
No,
they?
no,
They are
I'm
saying-
asking you and everybody else. I want to hear the opinion. I love it.
Yeah, I haven't get a chance to actually tell you how they would assert that it proves that the Earth is spinning yet.
Can you please
Yeah.
do that, Nathan?
Sure.
I don't
Please,
think
thank
on Nathan's
God.
question.
Say again, Arwen.
Well, the guy here on the Discord, he's not answering your question. He's just starting new stories again.
Sure.
Nathan asked
wasn't
you
trying
3
to answer
times.
your-
You just answered.
Arwen, you're not even in Discord.
I'm
Please,
just trying to
Nathan, go
establish
ahead if you have an explanation.
What I was trying to establish is if you understand how they would assert that as a claim to be globe proof. The way they would assert it to be a claimed globe proof is with an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy, which goes as follows.
Exactly.
If the Earth is a sphere, then I will observe star rotation. I observe star rotation, therefore Earth is a sphere. That's what they would assert to claim that it's proving the Earth is a sphere. So you have to actually pin them down to tell you how it's supposed to be proving Earth's a sphere, so then you can point out their two fallacies. The first being a begging the question fallacy. If Earth's a sphere, well, that's the premise you're trying to prove. So you're assuming it in your P statement when they say if Earth's a sphere, we'll see star rotation. And we do see star rotation, therefore Earth's a sphere. So it's a begging the question, affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy.
Yeah. Well, I'm okay. So whenever I talk to flat
are they the ones telling you?
Sorry.
Oh my God. Are they the ones telling you
No,
that
go ahead. I
the
want to
star
hear you.
rotation?
Try once more, chocolate. Try once again.
All right. Are they the ones telling you? Maybe I didn't hear it clearly. Are they telling you that the stars have nothing to do with the shape of the Earth?
No. That's where you have it wrong. As the flat earther, I'm saying the star, everything we see in the sky has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. Now, I can get into perspective and how we optically apparently see things, right? I can play that with them. But they're going to come to some sort of weird, abstract conclusion that we live in a sphere Earth that has an axis, yada, yada, yada. You know it as well as I do. So I'm just asking the panel here, and anybody can chime in, is that I'm saying that, listen, if I know the Earth is flat, the Earth has nothing to do with the shape of what, like, because we could see a sphere. We could see a celestial sphere. There's no way of disproving that. That's unfalsifiable. I do not know why they keep throwing the shit at us.
Yeah,
What is a sphere? The light?
Yo, Nathan told you it's affirming the consequent fallacy.
I
They're coming in with
agree.
confirmation bias.
I think that's the main takeaway from this whole thing, is that it absolutely is a fucking fallacy through and through. Now, I'm tired of hearing it, but it's constantly used against us, and I will explain to them why they're wrong. They get mad at hearing it, but, that's just the situation of the matter.
All right, go on, Owen.
Why do they...
Chocolate. Go on,
Sorry,
chocolate.
go ahead, Owen.
I think it was actually you, chocolate.
I was going to say, well, according to them, why are these things in the sky moving?
They don't have a clue. They're still stumped on fucking Bob
No,
Nodell's
what do you mean they don't have a
15-degree
clue?
jet.
They're
It's not
telling
even
us that these things in the sky are moving because we're on a spinning ball.
Yeah.
Well, then just ask them. Why is it when we get off the spinning ball, those things are still moving?
Exactly. So when you say yada, yada, yada and all that stuff, what you mean is that's where they beg the question and assume that the Earth is spinning as a part of their premise. Well, the premise is the very thing they're trying to prove. So that's their begging the question when they say, well, if Earth's a sphere...
Logic.
Well, can I shoot this shit off, you guys, just for the sake of argument, because I've seen it in my own experience. Whenever they try to go into space, they want to appeal to a different sort of inertial reference frame. They will never go to say, hey, if you're above the Earth, right, you're going to have nothing to do with Earth's rotation. You are in an independent reference frame. Therefore, the sky, aka the stars, should not be rotating. That's just logical deduction. Now, I don't know where they find themselves at this point, to be honest, because I've never heard a baller get to this point, because they never even want to argue it when it comes to this. And I don't know if anybody else has experienced that, but this is from my own point of view.
Yep. I can respond to that. There's confusion. Sorry, chocolate. I'm first.
No, go ahead. You're probably going to say the same thing I'm saying.
Right. There's still confusion as to what you're even supposed to be seeing up there. And hey, there's confusion for us too. There's indications that stars may be disappearing from sight altogether when you go up really high with the balloon footage, some of it. So yeah, they don't know for sure even what to assert there. because NASA has given conflicted testimonies about what's sighted up there. So yeah, they don't know.
You're absolutely right.
They don't know what to make of it.
No, I agree with you.
But here's the other problem, though, with that reference frame nonsense. Well, they're talking about, oh, you could have infinite reference frames. Well, this is why they try so hard to get away from the mainstream. Because if you listen to Mr. Smoking the Grass Tyson, you have a reference frame with a football being kicked.
Oh,
You got two different reference frames right there, right? But they don't want that.
Nathan, Chocolate, please, can I ask you a question directly, Chocolate? Because that's a great answer. So if we went above the Earth, despite the core of this, and in spite of the Earth's rotation, right, mathematically above all this things that they've told us, we're in some sort of a unique inertial reference frame, would we see... It would seem to me that the zodiac itself would not move, but the Earth would be moving, right? So if we're ever in some sort of geosynchronous orbit, we would never see the zodiacs ever move from the position that they're at. Now, no glober ever wants to admit that that's actually what's happened. They want to do some weird fucking gymnastic stunts, apparently. That's all I've ever known.
That's the problem, because they assert. I mean, even with the sunrise, right? They tell us, oh, we know the Earth's moving and spinning because sunrise and sunset. Okay, so when I leave the ground, why is the sun still moving away from me? Two things should happen when I leave the ground.
Fucking reference
the things
frame.
in the sky. Hold on. Two things should happen when I leave the ground. The things in the sky should stop moving, and the ground should start. If there are two reference frames, that's what should happen every time you leave the ground, and it never does.
Yeah,
because we only have one reference frame.
They need 15 degrees an hour deviation, and I think the point you're making, Sinclair, is that if you were to launch a drone by way of their claim, then you should see the stars stopping from the footage of the drone, and from the ground you should watch the drone drift away from you at 15 degrees an hour, coincidentally the same rate that they say the stars are being caused to look like they're moving because you're turning underneath them. They're effectively static, you're moving underneath, causing the apparent rotation. Well, if that's the case, then a drone's going to drift away from you and the stars aren't going to move for the drone, but the ground will drift away from it underneath. In the case of the equator, it'd be drifting away at 1,000 miles an hour.
That's exactly my whole fucking point. And that's the whole problem, that when you ever get in these arguments, you find yourself in the exact same situation that Nathan said and Chocolate said. Because there is an end goal, you can only have some sort of logical conclusion. And their logical conclusion is dumbass. Okay? So, like, I don't know why they're telling me anymore.
Wouldn't their, like, argument be just that there's more than two reference frames and that you're, like, in between the stars, which are, you know, infinitely far away?
Do not White Knight.
And the Earth.
You would be surprised how dumbass their shit actually is.
Well, they might make that argument, yes, but their argument as a standard is to say that we have a 15 degrees an hour deviation as Earth rotates underneath. So when they say there's an infinite number of reference frames, who cares? The only reference frame that's relevant to Coriolis effect is the one that's turning that you're observing things from. They claim that's Earth. Therefore, on a spinning Earth, we should see things drift away from us at 15 degrees an hour, and we do not.
So please, Nathan, that being said, holy shit, why would anybody disagree with that? Literally.
Try not to swear.
Pickle Rick, we have, like... You're right, you're absolutely right. Why? Okay, so if you're logically making sense, it's frustrating in the sense that if you're trying to communicate these facts, why would anybody logically disagree? Can we hear anybody? Why would you disagree?
They wouldn't. They disagree on account of being brainwashed.
Well, I want to be fair, and I want to agree with everybody and say, like, okay, is there any sort of criticism to that?
Not agree, disagree.
I've not heard it. I'm not expecting you to hear it either. But
it's not an agree, disagree situation. That is just Coriolis effect, and they claim they've got it. So, we know what Coriolis effect is, 15 degrees an hour in the case of their claim, of us turning underneath stuff. That's their claim. Well then just show it. Oh, you can't show it? Well, then roll on the arguments for about how we've got conservation of momentum rather than 15 degrees an hour drift proving Earth spinning. We don't have that. We just have arguments about why we don't have that. When that's the thing supposed to be proving we spin, we're supposed to have 15 degrees an hour deviation. And that's only caused by a reference frame that's spinning underneath another reference frame. That's precisely what they claim. Neil deGrasse Tyson says a ball gets kicked, seems to curve if you watch it from the stands, because you're rotating underneath it because Earth's rotating. But that would mean it's rotating under planes and drones and hot air balloons, but it doesn't. So that's the end of the argument. They obfuscate away by saying we can have as many reference frames as you want. Yeah, but the one that you need is the one that's spinning underneath stuff and you don't have it.
No, that's exactly right. Because there's no counter explanation to exactly what you just said. Because if you ever taken a physics math class in college, you're just describing things the way that they actually are. Okay? That's easy.
You know, it's one of those funny things, bro. This is how I got Kosho to say that hurricane winds 100% move in straight lines. Right? Does anybody know that hurricanes move in straight lines? Anyone ever heard that before? Has any Glober even made that claim other than him? No, right? Because when I asked him why, from the inertial reference frame, does a hurricane still appear to rotate, even though you're saying the Coriolis causes it? But the Coriolis is an effect that we see from the rotating reference frame. But you're telling me it's causing the hurricane. So then why is it when I go into the inertial reference frame where the hurricane already is it still rotating? And he said, in response, because he understood how fucked he was. I'm sorry, Nathan, my bad. But he understood how bad of a situation that was, that he said hurricane winds move straight. So you could have fun with that because I've never known hurricane winds to move straight. Those are actual winds with actual rotations. But he wants to conflate this apparent deviation that we see on a non-inertial reference frame with a rotating wind that we see in an inertial reference frame. It's the biggest nonsensical buffoonery ever, bro.
Exactly.
And they know it. They know it.
Yeah, wouldn't you appreciate what Coriolis is? Not actual deflection at 15 degrees an hour. You appreciate that the reason you've got this effect is because it's claimed we're on a turning Earth observing things that aren't turning on the turning Earth. And when we observe them, they seem to drift away at 15 degrees an hour. That's the claim. That's what they say proves Earth spinning. But we don't have anything drifting away from us. You don't launch a drone and watch it drift away at 15 degrees an hour, even though Neil deGrasse Tyson says it happens with a football when it's in the air for a second and a half. But if that was the case, you'd look up at a plane and go, oh, look, it looks like it's drifting at 15 degrees an hour. It isn't. It's just because I'm turning underneath, because that's what's proving Earth spins. The plane seeming to curve at 15 degrees an hour. Now, if it's seeming to curve from your vantage point on a claim to be spinning Earth that isn't spinning, then you'd be spinning under the plane shortening its flight time. And that does not happen. Because nothing's drifting away at 15 degrees an hour. You don't launch a drone on the equator and watch it zip away at 1,000 miles an hour. It just doesn't happen.
Actually, the plane would drift more than 15 degrees an hour if it was in altitude.
Still got a few more housekeeping questions. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating
Go on.
Yeah, I don't need permission. I just need you to shut up when I start talking. But thank you. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
It all makes me think of marshmallows over fire.
Oh, gooey molten cores. By Cadbury. Any evidence of the R value, Earth radius?
They don't even have curves in the geometry.
No.
So how do you have a radius?
Right on, Flatzoid. It's the demolition of their argument. It's the end of the road for the globe. Black Swan. What is it now? Nearly 9 months. This argument's been out. 9 months. You can produce a child in that time and there's still globers that don't get it. It's amazing, really.
That poor geometric horizon has been discarded, thrown away like a redheaded stepchild.
Maybe
So sad.
maybe a rendition of the argument. If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, that would be the assertion that the Earth's a sphere. The P statement is your claim that the Earth's a sphere, fundies, just in case anybody decides after this rendition of the argument that they're going to assert that their argument that the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 is actually a straw man, because the answer to that will be welcome to flat Earth. Anyway, if the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959, as per the fundamentalist religious assertion claim that the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959, then every distance to horizon can be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Now, the black swan demonstrate the horizon to be way in excess of 10 miles, when at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, at 1 foot observer height, it would be at 1.2 miles, and it's in excess of 10. Therefore, we do not see a geometric horizon. The horizon we see is not geometric. It's not a physical sphere edge. That only exists in the maths. The Earth is not a sphere. We do not have a geometric, physical sphere edge blocking boats and buildings in the distance, as per the rebuttal from the globe side based on those who may or may not understand the Black Swan argument. Quote, we wouldn't expect to see the geometric horizon. That would be Earth curve blocking boats and buildings. Or, the geometric horizon only exists in maths. That would be the physical obstruction of boats and buildings claimed in photographs. Isn't physical and geometric, that only exists in maths. So the rebuttal is essentially the concession that we don't see physical Earth curve edges blocking boats and buildings and capable of being measured to derive an R value giving you everything that the heliocentric model is based on. That would be the astronomical distances, that would be your Earth curve reification of a physical horizon. All of that is based on R, which means you need R, and you can't see a geometric horizon to get R. So no R, no heliocentric model, it's game over. That concludes the housekeeping at 47 minutes into the live show.
How about gas pressure?
Yeah, we covered it. Covered it.
Okay.
Epic. We can have that little silence that happens after every conclusion of every housekeeping ever.
Are you sure we got the molten iron core too?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we
got
got
the molten iron core.
Yeah, we did.
Do you want to revisit it?
I don't mind.
Um,
We were talking about the Toffee
PNS
Cadbury
waves.
Centre.
What do you want to revisit, Arwen?
PNS waves, love it.
Has anyone bent time or space recently?
What,
Not on my watch.
the old new hotness that is...
Not on my watch.
Yeah, maybe there's some
It's funny.
confusion.
Shit.
Go on, Chocolate.
10 minutes before the show, I asked somebody was talking to me about tides and the moon and stuff, and I was just like, well, according to the mainstream narrative, the gravity is the bending and warping of space-time. So can you show me that? Then tell me how that would affect tides on Earth. And he just looked at me like I had 3 heads. I was like, well, that's not my fault, man. That's your story. Okay, this is your story. Space and time are bending somehow, causing things to fall. And he was just like, I'm not talking to you today. I was like, okay, talk to you later.
Yeah, that's
Talking something non-physical.
That's their misapprehensions
non-material,
about. That's their misapprehension about what Einsteinian gravity is. That it's not some cause of things fall down, go boom, boom. It's an effect caused by the uneven distribution of mass, according to them in their mathematics of pseudo-Ramonian force space.
Which is bullshit.
Yeah, but
bullshit,
he thought it was a force.
Yeah, it's not.
It's just a fucking dumb idea of way of thinking about things, which we've debunked and we've moved on because Newtonian physics. You're right. I'm sorry. Okay, so listen. Newtonian physics had nothing to do with electromagnetism, had nothing to do with resistance, nothing. We threw that trash out because we knew things were better. I couldn't say what I wanted to say, but we'll wait to the after show because you just cannot defend this stuff because it's dumb. Please.
Please try not to swear.
We-
Just during the live show.
I said stuff and things. It's a creative way of not swearing because these guys are
That sounds like
clowns
polar arguments.
because they
We got
don't
a lot of
debate.
stuff
Maybe.
and things, reasons.
I only discourage the
I
swearing.
don't like people that just don't even discuss this quote unquote stuff, but they want to have an opinionated point of view that don't ever even interact with flat earthers. No, I don't like that. It's just garbage. Why don't you talk to a flat earther and then hear a different point of view than other than the brainwashing you've been taught?
Did the 10th man ever get his turn?
Yeah, I was just about to say.
You are
10th man's
10th
been
man,
waiting
and you
ages.
now have your turn.
10th man's been waiting a very long
You're
time.
lucky if you're going to get a word.
I didn't forget. No, absolutely not.
Come on.
Well, I wanted to.
Go ahead, 10th.
He doesn't
Oh, I
need
appreciate
permission.
I appreciate the
Sink
permission.
cleanser, man.
I'm not giving
Anytime cleanses
permission.
on, good luck.
Let's try that again. 10th
Oh,
man.
no.
At the,
10th
Nathan, at
man.
the beginning of the stream, at the beginning of the stream, you said, "I don't know what the container is, but I know there's containment because we have gas
Your
pressure."
name's not 10th man.
Now, what if I said that?
10th man.
Sorry, go
Hello.
ahead.
Go.
Man.
Hello, can you hear us?
We'll try again.
Percentage.
We'll come back to you percent. Go ahead, 10th man.
No worries.
What a day! What a day! Yes,
We
when we
tried.
present. Oh God! When we present our arguments, we don't need to ask why. Why do they still not believe us after we take their arguments down piece by piece with logical precision? Forget the why. Everybody, not everybody, a few people are still concerned. Hey, how come they still don't believe after I do this and after they're beaten? Don't go to the why. Just keep your arguments strong. Watch their, as Chocolate said, the guy thought he had 3 heads when he asked that question because he lost, and now he's now got the battle and the pain in him or her, and Chocolate sitting there calm because he had a logical statement and an argument to say about that one topic. So when you go into someone and say why after I beat them they're not conceding, that goes to a lot of places. That's got to be answered by them and only by them.
Did you want to add something, Flatsoid?
I just wanted to ask if there were any globers on here. I wanted to ask them a question.
I don't know. Maybe.
Why the damn hell do I lose signal if there is satellites?
It's a SATA balloon. It's a SATA balloon, and it just moved away. That's why.
I mean, if you looked in the show alone, I've dropped like 10 times just because I lose signal.
See, when they show you pictures of a hurricane, as stated earlier, and they're in the inertial reference frame, and it's spinning. It's not a straight line like Kosho says, right? Where's that picture being taken from? Is that the sky? Is just above the hurricane? Well, of course it is. But they're trying to tell you that's from outer space.
Right.
Sky vacuum next to gas pressure. Now, when you say it's a... Hang
Go
on,
on,
when you say
Flatsoid.
that picture was taken
10th.
from a place...
Hold on. Every time Flatsoid opens his mic, you might as well stop talking because you can't. He cuts everything you say. Go ahead, Flatsoid.
I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
okay.
just saying, can't those pictures come from planes and drones?
Yes.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
What reference frame are those planes and drones are in?
Yeah, we only have one reference frame, other than begging the question and then justifying why we don't have the deviation that the 2 reference frames would give us, Chocolate. Percent. Do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. So I was saying in the beginning of the live stream, you had mentioned that there's containment. You don't know what the container is, like whether it's a physical dome or what have you, but there is containment, and we know that because of gas pressure. So I think, I'd say the cause of gravity, that is to say, the effect of things moving to their equal density, is the containment. True or false?
I don't know what the container is. None of us do.
Yeah, but I'm saying like the
No,
cause
I'll
of this
go
effect
there.
is
I got
the
you.
container,
What
is the
gravity?
containment.
No, what is gravity first?
Yeah, we must have containment. That I'll agree with.
No, I get this question. So what is gravity first? Define gravity before we proceed. Because you're saying...
I did.
What if
I said
gravity
the
is
tendency of things to move to their equal density. That is the effect. The cause of which is unknown. You know, it's they say it's mass attracting mass, bending space-time bullshit. Sorry. But it's
So how do
unknown,
you-
and
how's
you know,
gas
the true
pressure
cause
achieved?
of it is the causing this containment.
How's gas pressure achieved?
Gas pressure, how's it achieved?
Yeah.
By being contained.
By what? By the
Right,
force
the force
of what
exerted on
against
the
the
walls
walls
of the
of what?
container.
Yeah, we don't know how it's working, but the fact that we have a pressure gradient
No, we do know how
shows
it's
that
working.
there's gradual containment as you go up, right?
It's not gradual
How
containment.
could you say we don't know how it's working?
We don't know what causes gravity.
There is no
We're
gravity.
not talking about gravity. We're talking about pressure.
I'm talking about the effect of things going to their equal density. So if we
That's
want to
not
use a different
gravity.
term like downward
That's not
acceleration,
that's
that's
not-
fine
Is
too.
How
that
is
is that their
gravity?
definition of
Wait a
gravity?
That's not
second.
gravity.
Wait a
It's their
second.
definition.
Yeah, that's not
Wait
gravity.
a second. Why didn't anyone stop him when he said gravity is the tendency to move to equal density? You didn't.
I'm talking about
stop
the
him?
effect.
I'm just doing that right now. Like that's not their definition of gravity, bro.
I'm not using. I elucidated the definition. I said it's the effect of those moving
The
towards.
tendency
If you want to use a
move
different word,
equal
that works too.
density is not gravity.
I did say that.
Citation, please.
Yeah, that's not gravity.
Okay, well, if you want to use a different word like downward acceleration, that's fine too. I'm just
It's
trying to
not
make it
downward,
simple,
though,
so I
is
don't
it?
have to say that each
But it's
and every
not
time.
downward. It's not downward though.
The point is, like, let's not get hung up on semantics. You guys know what I'm saying.
Oh no.
Semantics.
how we
Wait,
communicate.
If you don't want to use the word like gravity, and you want me to say
No,
each time,
you're not going to roll
Definition
past
is
this.
not
Semantics
semantics.
is the definition of words. We are going to use.
I
semantics.
defined the word
Every
as I went
argument
along.
is-
Did I not?
Don't overtalk me.
Go ahead.
We are going to be concerned with semantics because semantics is the definition of terms. So you have to define the terms that you're using, son.
I did as I went along.
No, you didn't.
If you want to use a different term, that's fine too.
Didn't.
Different term and then define it.
Let's not get lost in this tangent.
Yeah, here we go, lost in semantics again. Go play your game in Romper Room. Not here.
Forget it. It's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
With
you.
that, I'm going to say, if you are watching on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live on Nathan Oakley 1980, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either Premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.